Hey everybody, happy Tuesday. I hope you are having a wonderful afternoon. It has been a minute for some of us. Some of us hung out on Saturday. And for those of you who were there to witness a snack shenanigans, thank you so much for participating. It was hilarious. It was a lot of fun and I really enjoyed it. And I think a lot of other people did as well. So thanks for everybody who was there for the snack shenanigans and watching me eat disgusting things. It was truly a culinary adventure. So yeah, it was fun. And I think everybody that was there had a good time. So thanks for hanging with us on a Saturday afternoon. It was definitely different, that's for sure. And we'll be doing that again soon, probably in another 2 months or so. And if you would like to contribute to that, we still have an Amazon wish list that's available that you can use to contribute to the next snack shenanigans. So, and for those of you who were not able to watch it live, you can always go back and watch it on a replay over on, or right here, rather, not over on, but right here on the YouTube channel. So, all right. Hello to Wendy. Hi, Gina. Hi, Mary. Kathleen is here. Holly is here. Bonnie, my love. Hi, Rita. How are you? Hey, Julie. All the Marys are here. I love it. I love it. So good to see everybody. Just scrolling back a little bit, make sure that I didn't miss any questions or anything before we get started with today's project. So before I get into it, though, I want to remind everybody that I will be live again this week on Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern for our Feel Good Friday show. Hardwired will be meeting this afternoon at 4 p.m. Eastern time. So some of you will see me later and some of you will see me later. So regular schedule for this week, nothing new, nothing different, just the same old, which is good, right? It just kind of gives you some stability in the world that seems sometimes like it's spinning out of control. And there are only so many things that we have control over. Those are one of the things that we do have control over, though, and that is coming and hanging out together and spending some time together where we can just forget about all the other things that are going on and create beautiful pieces of jewelry. So that's what we are going to be doing today. Heather says, when is the makeup tutorial coming? I'll let you know. I will let you know. I'm actually considering doing that over on Patreon, just so that it has a place to live. Maybe, I don't know, maybe I'll do it on Discord. I'm not sure. I don't know that I want to put it on like the official YouTube channel, so it's gonna have to find its own little place to live, because there are so many other beauty like YouTubers out there. I don't want to come into their space and then be like, who are you? And you're old and gross. Why? Go away. You know what I mean? So there's like I gotta be very respectful of the community there that already exists and do this strictly for our community. So yeah. Anyway, I'm still thinking about it though. I will let you know. So today we're putting together a beautiful project. Now I want to mention something to you guys. So we're doing a project today that is not Bargain Bead Box, but we will be doing Bargain Bead Box next Tuesday. I know a lot of you already have your Bargain Bead Box for the month. Some of you are still receiving yours. So if you're still waiting on yours to get there, I won't spoil anything for you and we'll do that next week. Still just a little too early on my end to do that. I have mine, but we'll wait and do it next. Wendy, I don't know, I'm feeling a little slow and sluggish today. Definitely making me feel a little bit, not feeling young and chipper today. I'll just put it that way. So yeah, what was I even saying? I don't even know. I got sidetracked there. Oh, I will be doing Bargain Bead Box next week. So if you are looking forward to that, that's what we will be doing. But today we are doing a beautiful project that I was actually inspired by the project that I did on Friday over on Art Beads. If you missed that Friday project over on artbeads.com, you can always go back and watch it. We used some of the beautiful silk ribbon for it, and we did wire wrapping. It was just a wire wrapped chain with some really beautiful Raven's Journey beads. However, I was really inspired by that because this time of year, I love using the silk ribbon for things. I even did last week's Patreon project using some of the silk ribbon. And so I thought, you know what? I'm going to use some silk ribbon in today's project as well. This is a very similar project to what I did on Friday. However, the difference is this is not wire wrapping. This is stringing. And I'm using a gorgeous lampwork bead with this that I think is just stunning. So this is just a happy, fun, colorful project. It's easy, but it's really pretty. And hopefully it will inspire you to add some bold, bright pops of color into your designs. So keeping it simple, doing some stringing, no wire wrapping today of any variety. We're just going to string up some beautiful things. So let's get to it. You want to? I'm going to turn you guys around and I'm going to show you what is on my mat that we're going to be working with today. So as I mentioned, we're using a gorgeous Lampwork bead. This one is Grace Lampwork. I don't have a lot of other Lampwork from others. I have a handful from a couple of other Lampwork artists, but Grace Lampwork are the ones that are the most easily accessible to literally everybody. So this is the bead that I picked to use for today's project. And you can see it has a lot of color here. There are some aqua colors, blues and deeper blues. There's a little bit of green, yellow, orange, deep red. And so I was getting very rainbow from this. The only thing that I think is missing here is purple, but I think you could mix purple with it if you wanted to. It's also drilled with a large hole, as most Grace Lampwork beads are. So we are going to be addressing that as we create. I also found a really beautiful dagger. It's made out of agate. And it's just been, you know, it's blue, dyed blue agate of some variety. I had a few of these, but I picked the one that had the most blue to hang from the bottom of this. We're going to create a whole little focal out of it. Then I pulled some Czech glass. These are not actually Austrian crystals. These are Czech glass crystals. I got some red for the red here, some of the blue, some green, some yellow. And then I did some smaller ones as well. So we're going to be alternating between the 6 millimeters and the 4 millimeters for our project. Also have two large hole beads that are really pretty, just Czech glass large hole beads. That really interesting kind of, I don't know, almost looks like foil on the inside there. Really liked those. And for our spacers, I'm using some size 11 Tohos in perma-finished galvanized starlight. This is not like a gold. This is a kind of a muted, softer gold than some of the others. For instance, let me show you the difference. So you can see this is more of like a genuine gold color, whereas this one is more of that you know, that yellowy fake gold color. Not that I don't love this, because I do. I use it for all kinds of things. It matches most of my findings better than this one does, but I'm using this one. And I have a couple of jump rings here, some wire guardians, 2 crimps, and a clasp. Nothing too fancy. And then my silk ribbon that I'm using is an ombre. It's got some purple, blue, darker greens, lighter greens, orange into red, and then back around again to purple and blue. So it just goes right back around again into all of those colors. I thought this was a nice addition. I wish that I had one that had more vibrant colors, because these are a little bit on the muted side, but it's still going to turn out and look really beautiful. So that's what we're going to do. All right. I'm feeling chipper. I'm just a little tired. I did not get to rest this weekend. My kids were here. All 3 kids were here. And we just went nonstop all weekend. And I usually do some work on Sundays, but since Sunday was Mother's Day, they were kind of, you know, I mean, we spent the whole day doing things, planting a gazillion flowers and all of that stuff. So I didn't rest. I didn't rest on Saturday either. So I'm just feeling a little tired and sluggish, because yesterday I had to make up for the work that I didn't do on Sunday. So I'm just, you know, I mean, I don't feel sick or anything. I'm just tired. That's all. Nothing major, just sleepy. All right, so I'm going to use some bead stringing wire here. I'm using some 49 bright bead stringing wire, and got several inches here. I hope this is going to be long enough. If it's not, I can always cut some more, but I'm just using the bright. I know that our findings and stuff are gold, but you don't really see any of this. So it's totally fine. All right. Now for today's project, we're actually going to start in the middle, which every once in a while I do when it comes to projects, but this project in particular is a really good one to start in the middle because it's easier to string if you do that. So what we're going to do is we are going to, let's dump out some of our seed beads here. Sherry, you are not the oddball. I don't know what you're talking about. We are all collectively oddballs in the best way ever. Granted, I have not been paying attention to the conversation you're having with Debbie, but I think it's safe to say that we're all a little odd here, and that's why we all love each other so much. Okay, so as I mentioned, starting from the center, so I'm going to thread on my agate bead. This is going to be the middle. This is going to be the lowest hanging portion of our necklace. Then I'm going to create a little bit of a loop here with some beads. So on each side of my bead stringing wire, I'm going to thread on 3 seed beads. So 1, 2, 3 on the right and 3 on the left. 1, 2, and well, yeah, and 3. I need to trim the end of this bead stringing wire. It's got a little, see how it's just got a little spot on it? Makes it a little bit harder to pick up these seed beads. So I'm just going to trim that nice and clean, and that'll make life a lot easier. All right. 3 seed beads. Okay. Now I'm going to thread on, I know you can't see what I'm doing, but there we go. I'm going to thread on a green 4mm crystal. Odd is the new normal. And listen, normal is overrated, especially when you're a creative type, and we're all very creative. So I think that it's safe to say that normal is not really what we do here. All right, so a green crystal on each side. Then I'm going to do 2 seed beads on the right, 2 seed beads on the left. Drop those down. Then I'm going to do the red crystals. So I'm going to do a red crystal on the right and a red crystal on the left. Okay, we're going to do 2 more seed beads. So 2 on the right, 2 on the left. I'm surprised my left hand is doing things today. Do you guys ever have that problem? It's like you have 2 hands, right? Except for those of you who are ambidextrous, and I envy you. But I have 2 hands. My right hand is my dominant hand, and it really, truly is the dominant hand. My left hand acts like it does not know how to hand 90% of the time, has no idea how to do anything. And so anytime I do a double needle project or like what we're doing here, my hand just doesn't want to, it doesn't know how to behave. I'm like, really? You've been with me my whole life, and you act brand new every day. Doesn't know how to act like a hand. Okay, so today we're doing good though. So I'm proud of you, hand. Way to go. All right, I'm going to pick up 3 seed beads this time on the right and 3 on the left. Good job, hand. Well done. Okay. Now we are going to turn this into a little circle, if you will, making a little loop. So we're going to thread a green bead onto one side, and then I'm going to take the other side of my bead string wire and I'm going to go up through that bead too. So they're both going in the same direction up through the green bead. Okay. And then I'm going to pull that down. And when I pull that down, that turns this into a little loop. Okay. Now, one of the other things that this is doing, other than creating a pretty little loop out of beads, is it is going to help us to stabilize a little bit the Lampwork bead, because this little 4mm crystal that we've put on is going to kind of sit in the, it's going to just barely, it's going to fit like in a bowl right into the large opening here of this Grace Lampwork bead. So I'm going to take both of my bead stringing wires and I'm taking those both up through my Lampwork bead. And then I'm going to do another green bead to sit on the other side of this large hole. And you can see it's going to kind of just sit right down in there, and it's really going to help to stabilize. A bicone would even be better, but I'm using the round beads and they're just fine. But it really kind of helps to stabilize this bead on your bead stringing wire so that it doesn't wobble around too much, right? So those two little beads poking out on both sides. All right, now we are going to separate out our bead stringing wire again and go back to doing the left side and doing the right side. And we are going to make those match as we go. However, if you wanted to create an asymmetrical design with this, you absolutely could. I'm going to raise you guys up a little bit too, just so that you can see a little bit more of the necklace as we go. I try to keep you as close as I can, but sometimes it makes it hard to see what we're doing. Okay, so now we are going to add on some other beads. So again, with the seed beads, we're still doing our little seed bead sections. So I'm going to pick up 3 seed beads on the right, and then 3 seed beads on the left. Drop those down. Okay. Then I'm going to pick up red, and I'm using the 4mm. So a red on the right and a red on the left. Okay. Now I'm going to switch back to doing just the 2 seed beads. So if you've noticed, in transition areas is where I've used 3 seed beads. But for the length, that's where I've used 2. Feel free to just make it one or the other if it's a little too confusing. But I like to do that. I'm not entirely sure why. That's just kind of it's just kind of a design choice. It also creates a little extra length. So you can see there's 3 on either side of our agate and then 3 up here at the top. But in between, I used 2. And then here it's 3. But now I'm going to transition back into 2 again. So it really honestly is just, it's just design choice. There's no like practical reason for it. All right, so now 2 seed beads and then blue, and I'm using the 4mm. Drop that down. Same on the other side. So 2 seed beads and then blue. Okay. Then I'm going to do 2 more seed beads. So just always assume there's going to be 2 seed beads, at least until we get to the end of the strand. So 2 seed beads. Then I'm going to switch things up and I'm going to move to the larger beads. So now I'm going to switch up to a dark blue, 6mm on each side. Hello, Ari. You're supposed to be in class. Everyone, my daughter has entered the chat and she is supposed to be, or she is at school. I hope you're, it's the end of the year though. I know they're not doing much, but I hope you're paying attention. All right. To your teacher, not me. All right. Now I'm going to do red on either side. So picking up, and again, these are the larger beads. So there's the larger red on either side. Okay. Then we're doing 2 seed beads, 2 seed beads on the other side. Okay. Now we're going to do yellow. So I'm going to do a yellow on either side. All right, and then 2 seed beads. And then green, and we're using the large green. Now this is the middle of the pattern for this section. So now what we're going to do is we are going to repeat this. So after the green, I'm going to go back to the yellow and just repeat this section. So that green really kind of marks the middle. All right, so I'm going to pick up 2 seed beads again on each side. Okay, so now I'm just going to come back down the pattern. So a yellow, and another yellow. Okay, 2 seed beads, 2 seed beads. Okay, now I'm going to do the red. So you can see how we're just blocking the green in again. All right, 2 seed beads. And then the dark blues. Okay, 2 seed beads. And then we are going to transition back down to the smaller of the crystals again. Okay, so light blue. Two seed beads, whoops. And then 2 red. So, well, a red on either side. You know what I mean. A red on either side. And now, because I am at the end of the strand on both sides, right? We came right back down to the red where we started our main pattern. I'm going to finish off with 3 seed beads. And again, no real reason for that other than just design choice. So if you just wanted to leave it with 2, you absolutely can. Somebody put Wanda's name down on the clipboard. She's late. Late. Do you have a note, Wanda? You had better have a note. I'm just kidding. All right. So that's what we've got. How pretty is that? I have used all the colors here, brought all the colors from this beautiful Lampwork artisan bead up through the length portion of the necklace. And now we are ready to crimp, but not before I clean up my seed beads, because I am trying not to make a huge mess today. Oh, yay. Ari said that her the people watching this that she's in school with said it's pretty. I hope so. This is definitely going to be one of those that goes into the Etsy shop, I think. So, all right. So now I have 2 wire guardians. We're going to put wire guardians and crimps on either side, and then we are going to add our ribbon to this to add even more color. All right. So now I am going to lower you guys back down so that you can see what we've got going on. Okay. All right. So threading on my crimp tube and then my wire guardian. That is not a good enough note, Wanda. That's funny though. I used to do the same thing. Yeah, here's my note. I promise my mom signed it. Y'all don't tell my mom that. All right. She'll still ground me. Okay, going back down through my wire guardian and then down through my crimp, making sure that my wires are not crisscrossing. Okay, I'm going to pull the slack out because we do have a little bit of slack on both sides, and we want to be sure that we don't leave any extra, because sometimes the slack gets left out down here and then you have a droop in your little loop. Okay, so just make sure that you're being mindful of all of that. All right, so pulling that down, we're going to place our crimp into the back notch of our crimper tool. Give that a squeeze. And then we're going to turn that sideways and put that into the front notch of the crimper tool and give that a squeeze just to make it more compact. Give it the tug test, and then come in with your cutter and you're going to trim off the excess. All right, and then we're going to do the same thing over on the other side, but again, being really mindful of any of the extra slack and trying to make sure everything is nice and spaced out evenly. All right, and we're going to thread on our crimp and our wire guardian on this side so that we can crimp. So up through, up through the wire guardian, down through, and then everybody listen to Xena snore in the background. Oh my. Okay. All right. Pulling out that slack, double checking every little part of this before you crimp, just so that you don't have to restring everything. Okay. All right. Now, again, making sure the wires are not crossing, place that into the back notch of your crimper tool. Give that a squeeze. Sideways into the front notch, give that a squeeze, and then trim off the excess. All right, so now the front of our necklace is ready to go. It is beautiful. It has all of the color here, but we're not done with the color. We're going to use these beautiful, or this beautiful, it's just one piece, silk ribbon for this. Now, you can do this two different ways. I'm going to put my clasp in the front just because I don't want to cut my ribbon. However, if you want to cut your ribbon and put your clasp at the back, you can do that. It just hurts my soul to have to cut these ribbons because they are, you know, they're all nice and neat. They have a nice hemmed edge and everything, or at least a sewn edge. It's not necessarily hemmed, but you know what I mean? So it's not going to fray. So I'm going to leave it just like it is and just adjust the length of the necklace when I come back around to the front. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to attach a jump ring over here on the right side. All right, so I'm going to open that up. I'm going to thread that onto the wire guardian, and then I'm going to close that jump ring back. And then I'm going to take my ribbon and I'm going to thread my ribbon through that jump ring, and I'm going to bring my ends together so that I know that the jump ring is sitting in the middle of my ribbon. Okay. Now I'm going to thread on, instead of tying a knot, if you want to tie a knot here, you can tie an overhanded knot right here just to kind of cinch this down, but I'm not going to do that. I'm actually going to use a large hole bead for this. So I'm going to take my two ends together and kind of twist them to each other just to make them as small as possible to go through the large hole on this. And then I may still need my pliers. Nope, it worked out just fine. All right, now I'm going to take this large hole bead and I'm going to pull it down slowly because it is a tight fit, but I'm going to pull that all the way down. Debbie, I got this one off of artbeads.com, but I've seen them in a lot of places. Etsy usually has a really nice selection of silk ribbons, but Art Beads is where I got mine. All right, so I'm just going to pull that down, and I'm pulling it down close to the jump ring, and I'm using that in place of a knot just so that I have a little extra color there. Okay, so now I'm going to come around the other side. Okay, creating this beautiful length. Okay, and I'm actually going to do kind of the same thing. I'm going to thread on another one of those beads. This time I actually will tie a knot, but I'm going to thread on the bead to the ends. And then this is really where you kind of want to figure out what the length of your necklace needs to be. And you will have some ribbon dangles here in the front, which I really like. I think that that's pretty. It's very boho. So adjust accordingly to how long you want your necklace to be, because you may want it to be a little longer, a little shorter. It's up to you. But place your bead kind of where you want your clasp to be, because it's going to be very close, by about a ½ inch. Then tie another overhanded, or tie, not another because we haven't done one yet, but tie an overhanded knot with your ends. And you're going to pull that knot up next to your bead. However, don't cinch this knot down just yet, because we're going to put a jump ring into this knot. So that's why it's big and bulky at the moment. Take a jump ring. All right. And then you are going to slide that jump ring into your knot, just like that. See how I managed to wiggle it around the ribbon? And this can be, let's go ahead and put the clasp on this side, since it's right up against the knot here. We'll go ahead and put the clasp on and then close that back. Now you can cinch your knot down tighter and make it smaller. Right, so it's not this big bulky thing. And now you have your clasp attached in there. All right, and the last thing to do is add your jump ring here for your clasp. So I'm going to attach that to the wire guardian, and that is where our clasp will attach. And there you go. Such a pretty necklace. So pretty. You've got lots of color, lots of texture. I know you can't see all of it right this second. We are going to put it on the bust here in just a second so you can see. But really pretty, colorful necklace. Beautiful for the spring and summer. And it was just stringing. We didn't do any wire wrapping. We just needed to open and close a couple of jump rings. That's pretty much it. And we created a really beautiful necklace that you can throw on. It's going to be nice and lightweight. I love using the silk ribbons this time of year. As the weather gets a little bit hotter, sometimes the heavier things that we use, like big bulky chains and things, are just a little too hot when it comes to wearing jewelry, but I still want to be able to accessorize and have on pretty things. So using this is a nicer, more comfortable way to wear jewelry in the heat that comes this time of year. And if you don't like the ends here, you can trim those off if you want to, add a little bit of glue, but I think that they add a fun little decorative element to this overall. So, all right. Thank you, Kim. I hope that I am encouraging everybody to think outside the box. That's always my goal. Yes, Wanda, it is a Grace Lampwork. It's so pretty. It's just beautiful. All right, I'm going to turn you guys around and show you what this one looks like on the neck. And then we will go. I know it was kind of a short project today, but they don't always have to be an hour long. You know, you don't always have to hang out for an entire hour. All right, so I'm going to put this one on the bust. You can see just what this one looks like. So pretty. Now, it is longer than my bust is, so I'm going to let it hang low for a second, and then I will pull it up a little bit. But I wanted you to be able to see the ribbon, because when I pull it up, you are not going to be able to see all of that. But how pretty is that? Beautiful colors. It really accents this pendant really nicely. And again, it's just bead stringing wire, so we didn't do anything super hard. So for those of you who are beginners, this is a great place to start, because this is not just straight stringing, right? We did a little extra to it. Just a little something different. Just a little reminder that you don't always have to use tons of hardware, right? We didn't have to wire wrap here. We didn't have to wire wrap our pendant. We didn't do any wire wrapping here. We didn't have to use a bail. We didn't have to use an excessive amount of jump rings or anything like that. We just let the bead stringing wire be the strength and created some fun shapes. And you can actually do this upwards in your necklace as well. So if you wanted to do little loops, more of the little loops, you have room here. You could do 2 if you wanted to, maybe not with a big pendant on them, but that same shape can be repeated throughout with the same process, just taking your bead string and wire and then turning it back around and coming back up through one bead with your 2 strands. So you can really get creative with stringing. I know a lot of people are like, oh, stringing, it's just for beginners. It's the easiest form of jewelry making. But quite honestly, there are some really cool things that you can do with your bead stringing wire that really are going to take your standard stringing to the next level. So always be ready to think outside the box and do different things with what you are used to doing, right? With the techniques that you're used to using, rather, I should say. So super pretty. I love it. It will probably end up in the Etsy shop, and I'm sure that one of you, it'll end up around your neck at some point. I have this one and the one from Friday, so I'll probably try to list those later on this week. I know that there were a couple of people that had asked about the one that I made on Friday. So yeah, I'll probably put those in before our Feel Good Friday show. All right, friends, thank you so much for hanging out with me this afternoon. Let me be a part of your beadie journey. As always, it is a pleasure. I have had a great time. I hope that I have inspired you. If you are a Hardwired member, I will see you at 4 p.m. Eastern this afternoon for our Hardwired project of the week, which is actually a really cool one. Let me show it off to you guys in case you would like to see what it is that we're doing. So we're doing some macrame in Hardwired, but we're doing like the I don't know what you would call, this is like advanced macrame. This is not like your everyday macrame. So we're putting together a really cool double friendship bracelet here. That's what we're doing. I know we do a lot of wire projects, but I'm trying to switch things up a little bit. So that's what is happening over in Hardwired, if you are curious. All right. The rest of you guys, I will see you on Friday at 1 p.m. for our Feel Good Friday show. Have a wonderful rest of your afternoon. And I will see you guys again in a day or two, okay? I love you. Mwah! Bye.